All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. We're back here talking about the 7 straight win team in the Minnesota Vikings. Big game tomorrow at home against the Dallas Cowboys. I'll predict they're going to get that win to get to 9-1. The best part is, too, the Eagles lost this past Monday, so they're no longer undefeated. And the first seed, it was still in play, it's even more in play now. I mean, Minnesota, it's not always pretty. Like, the Bills game, I have some highlights playing. That Bills win was insane. I mean, there were so many things in that game. You had, you're down, 4 points with a minute left, get stopped at, the 1 yard line, the fumble for a touchdown as time is less than a minute away, the Justin Jefferson catch to keep the game in play leading into that on 4th and 20, the interception from Harrison Smith, the missed field goal. There were so many things in that Vikings-Bills game that we already kind of had a feeling, because they've won 7 straight games. We had a feeling that Kirk is playing really good. The Vikings offense is playing really good. They're 8th in points per game at 25.1. They're 14th, top 15 defense with 21.2 opponents point per game. Like I said, they're not all pretty wins, but who said it has to be pretty, right? The difference between this year's Vikings and the Vikings of the past is, the Bills game's a perfect example. Those are not games, first off, that many teams win, given the circumstances. Buffalo, their last loss when having the lead with 14 points at halftime, I think their last loss was to Miami in 1968. So already against all odds, but there have been so many wins, like the 17-7 fourth quarter comeback against Washington, where this team's just special. They're just genuinely special, and Kevin O'Connell has done a great job in preparation and in scheme from a week-to-week basis. They have plenty of talent. Your offense is completely loaded, and I know although the defense can have some holes, some people wanted some DB help at the trade deadline. Some people wanted some defensive line help. Their actually defensive pressure statistics are in the top 10 of the NFL in pretty much every single category. And Harrison Smith has 4 interceptions on the year. Patrick had the game-clinching touchdown or the interception against Buffalo. He has 3 on the year. They're forcing turnovers. They're limiting their own mistakes. For the most part, Kirk does have 8 interceptions on the season. When you look at Kirk's, we have stats here, 14 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. He has about 262 yards thrown per game, 64% completion rate. He's got a QBR of about 87 actually on the dot. You could look at those statistics and think not too much of it. It's all right. He's got 2,400 yards thrown, but, Kirk hasn't done anything crazy. Kirk has done more than needed for a Super Bowl contending team. He's done more than needed, especially in these fourth quarter games, in these one-possession games. They just find ways to win. And I have no reason to believe why that magic will start to fizzle out, because they're just so disciplined. Even just they're so hyped. That Justin Jefferson, first off, catch of the year, obviously. The catch of the year by Justin Jefferson, I know it didn't lead to points. It kind of did because of the fumble for a touchdown at the 1 yard line. But when he caught that and you saw the sidelines, I mean, it just goes to show you the culture brewing right now in Minnesota. And the scary part is, I'm a cheesehead. The scary part about Minnesota is it's not like it's just a one and done. It's not like a Rams situation where you gave up a bunch of assets for all this top tier talent that you're either going to have to pay or they're getting old or whatever it is. It's not that. Kevin O'Connell, the GM, the personnel they have, it's here to stay, and it's going to be here for quite some time. And as a fellow NFC North team enjoyer fan, it's kind of tough, but it is really cool to see. I like watching good football. Minnesota has done an absolutely phenomenal job, and I saw it personally firsthand week 1 against my Green Bay Packers. When you have a quarterback in Kirk Cousins, when you have a running back on Dalvin Cook, who's averaging 5 yards per carry right now, a little over 81 yards per game. He's got 727 yards on 6 touchdowns. Dalvin Cook's a stud. We've always known he's a stud. It really has just been a matter of, how's the rest of the Vikings offense look? How's the rest of the Vikings team looks? And then also, is Dalvin healthy? You have Justin Jefferson. this hurts me to say because of Devontae Adams, and I'll word it like this. You could make an argument that Justin Jefferson, and I will say it here, Justin Jefferson's the top 2 wide receiver in the NFL. It's just a cold, hard fact. It's actually pretty fun, awesome fact. He's the top 2 receiver in the NFL, and there is a very real and a very legitimate argument that he is not number 2. So we'll leave it at that. But he's breaking records every single week. It feels like he has 4 touchdowns on the season. He's averaging 120 yards reception a game. He might not be the second best receiver in the NFL. We'll just leave it at that. Adam Thielen, Mr. Consistent. You're getting what you need from Adam Thielen. I think KJ Osborne could be a little bit of an X factor headed into these later weeks. I wouldn't be surprised if he had a showing tomorrow against Dallas. Dallas has a lot of holes, man. They just have so many holes, and I'll talk about it real quick tomorrow and why I think Minnesota is going to win. Dallas's rush defense is it has a lot of holes. I think gimmicky is the wrong word, but there's a lot of holes, and it's kind of crazy because they have some huge-ass names on that defense, like huge names on that defense, but there are some holes, and they're, for the most part, in the running game, but it's also in the passing game. So, like, Dallas is a good football team. I don't view them as Super Bowl contenders. I mean, Dak is a good quarterback. He's not a great quarterback. He also is not having a great season. I know there's been some injuries there, but there's a lot of rumblings right now. Is Dak the future of the quarterback with the Dallas Cowboys? And I think with this momentum, 7 straight wins, Minnesota's they've got the advantage. You're at home. It's like literally when you drive by it on the highway. I'm from Chicago, but I've been to Minneapolis several times. I talk about it in these videos. So it's probably my top 2 favorite cities in the entire that I've actually ever been to in this country. Seeing US Stadium, seeing it even just on the highway, it's so huge. I've never actually been to a game. I've never been inside of it. See it on TV, and it looks awesome, but it's huge. And the city and the state and their fans, they love it. They eat it up, as they should. No matter the season, but especially this season right now. And it just is a huge advantage, and that's why getting that number 1 seed, getting that home field for the entire playoffs heading into the Super Bowl, it's a really big deal. It's a very big deal. So I think Minnesota's going to get there. I think they're going to be that number 1 seed. The TJ Hawkinson addition at the trade deadline was absolutely huge. He literally gave up party pack variety, baked Lay's chip for him, essentially. I don't really know what Detroit was thinking. I'm sure in between the lines there's some reasonings why they would do that. But, with a healthy Irv or a non-healthy Irv, currently it's a non-healthy Irv, I definitely not rooting for injuries ever. Nobody is. But it was a huge kind of blessing in disguise to me because TJ Hawkinson he was added to an already good offense, an already lethal offense. But he just gets them to that next level, and I made a couple of videos about it when it happened because I was just mind blown. I was like, they just got TJ Hawkinson and then for what? They gave up what? What did Detroit gain from that? It's just a huge move that championship teams make, and it's also not just a rental. You also just now have him. So Midwest guy, University of Iowa. The addition, the trade of TJ Hawkinson, if you weren't already fearing Minnesota, this kind of to me is just the icing on the cake. That win against the Bills, they had all odds against them from the start of the game, especially at halftime. They're down, 17 points. It was truly a magical game that I think really opened up a lot of eyes. We've been talking about it on this channel for several weeks, several months now, how good Minnesota is. And I think against Buffalo, it kind of, on a national grand stage, I think people are starting to realize that. And I think it's just only going to continue, especially with a win here tomorrow against Dallas, knock on wood. So nobody really likes Dallas anyways, except Dallas fans. That's it for today. So hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you guys want more Vikings content, I post it at least a couple of times a week, so be sure to hit that sub button. But show some love down below. Let me know what you guys are feeling about this team, feeling about this weekend, and I'll catch you guys later.